Hi everyone, welcome developers. So as promised earlier, today we'll be looking at our first project, which is a registration form. So we are creating a registration form for a company which just only HTML. We have looked at several things in HTML since we started. So let's try and implement it. Let's get the fun out of it. So let's open our text editor. So here we create a new file. Let's save our file. So our file name is registration form .html. Remember to bring your extension. So the recommended text editor was Sublime. That's what I'm using here. So we type our HTML syntax. We went through all this, so you can watch the other previous tutorials to understand this. So our title will be registration form. So we are creating a form, and we have a tag called form in HTML. We use it to create forms. So let's create our form tag. So this is how the form tag looks like. We have looked at tagging in HTML. So here we are going to use a table form. Let me open the finished version of our program. So at the end of the day, this is how the registration form will look like. There is no addition. This one is just pure HTML, what we have learned already. This one we taught it in the previous lessons, so we are just applying the knowledge here. So this is how our finished version looks like. So we have our table tag. We are going to use tables to create. So we have our table tag, and within the table tag we create table row. And within our table row we have our table data. We have created tables in earlier sections before. So we have name, our name. We come out here, we create another table data, we have our input tag. We call this tag input tag. It's used to get input from users or surfers, people who visit your site and you want to take details or something about them. Use the input tag. It gives you space to write something. So our input type will be text, because we will be taking text. So we come outside the table row, create a new table row. It's for and here we create our new table data. So we have our password. It's either registration form or sign up form. So we have our password. We come down, we create our table data again, and we have our input tag again. So basically we are making use of the tables and the input tags. Here it should be password, the type will be password. Let's save it. Let's open our program. Right click on if you are using Sublime, right click on anywhere of the browser and open in browser. Your text editor will open in browser. So this is what we have done. The few code we have written, this is what we have gotten. We have our name and where you can enter it, our password where you can enter your password. So let's come back to the name, the input for name. Let's write placeholder. So this is a placeholder. Our placeholder will be name, and let's come to password. Let's type our placeholder, which will be password. Let's save. Let's open our browser, then reload. Now you can see placeholder. So this is what we call placeholder. You see, it's a fainted name. When we click to type, it gets away. You understand? So that's the placeholder. It indicates what should be typed inside here. So now let's continue. Let's create our gender So we create our new table row. We create our table data. Type our gender. We create another table data. We use our input tag. So here our type will be radio. Let's open in the finished version again and see what happens. So this is the first finished version. You see our gender. Our type is radio. You can't select. Radio is a data type. You can't select two things at a time. You only have a chance to choose one. Radio button. We call them radio buttons. So here our type will be radio. Our input type will be radio. So after the tab, we put our mail. So let's copy this code. Let's copy the code. Paste it 3 times. Then change here to female. Okay, if not female. And now we have the others. We have our others here. Now we have others as a gender. So we save it. We open our browser. We open our radio phone. We reload. So now we have our radio. But as you can see, we can select about 3 types at the same time. But that shouldn't be a case because you can't be a male and female at the same time, even others. So let's come back to our code. Here we give it name, gender, name, gender, name, gender, and we save our code. Let's go back to our browser. Let's reload, and then let's try selecting. You see we can't select 2 at the same time. So what's next on our registration form? We have our email. So let's create our email. So we come down our table row. We create a new table row. In the table row, our table data. Our table data will be email. So we create our new table data. We create our new table data here, and we give our input tag inside. So here to be email, type will be email. Placeholder will be email. So let's save it. Let's open our browser. Let's refresh. Now we have our email button where we can type our email. And as we type, we see that indicates that we have to add an @ sign. We have to include, please include an @ sign in the email address. So that's what the type email gives us. The type email, that's what it gives us. It ensures that it is an email. So if you enter anything without the type, the @ sign, it won't come. You'll be allowed to submit your form. So after that, what's next on our project? We have our phone number. As you can see, the phone number has a country code and the space for phone number. So let's try and create some. So we open a new table row. In the table row, we have our table data. In the table data, we have phone. We come down, we create another table data. And in the table data, so how do we do the drop down for the country code? This is what we call drop down. You click, it drop down, and different options drop down. How do we do it? So we have a tag we call select tag. Select tag is used for this drop down, and within the select tag we have option tag. So these are the options below, the options you can choose. The select tag is used to do the drop down, and these are the options below, options you can choose. So we have the Ghanaian code, Ghana's code. Let's copy it. Ctrl+C. Let's paste it 3 times. So let's change here to 4, here to 5, here to 6. Let's save it. Let's open our form. Let's reload our form. So we have our drop down. So our drop down is, and when you select, you see it at the top there. So now let's create our phone area. So below the select closing tag, we bring our input tag there. Here our type will be phone. Placeholder will be so let's save it. Let's reload. So now we have our placeholder, and when you begin typing, it vanishes. So after that, what is next on now? So we have this button, accept terms and conditions. So let's try and create it. So after the table row, after the last table row, we create another new table row. And within the table row, we have table data, and our table data will contain an input button first. So now our type will be check, a check button. As you can see in the finished version of it, it's a check button. You can click to check and click to uncheck. So our type will be check box. We call it check box in HTML. So let's save it. Let's open our browser and let's refresh. So now you see our checkbox. You can check and uncheck it. So this is our checkbox. So now let's add a text area. So we create a new data type, and we put our input. So our input here to be what? Phone. Our type will be phone. No, we are dealing with checkbox. So we create our input. Here we don't need input. Sorry, we don't need input. We write our terms and condition. I agree to all terms and conditions. So let's save. Let's open our browser and let's refresh. So you can see I agree to all terms and conditions. You can check, you can uncheck. So let's create our last listing, which is the submit button. We have our submit button. So we click here. We have our new table row. Inside we have our table data. Inside our table data we have our input tag. Here our input will be submit. The type will be submit. Our placeholder will be submit. So let's save. Let's refresh our page, and now we have our submit button in which we can click to submit. So here we can click to submit. So after filling our form, you see the password is not showing, but we can click here to show the password. So we choose we type our email, we type our phone number, and we agree. So when you agree, let's try and submit our email. There's nothing like @. Let's try and submit. So you see the notification, please include an @ in your email address, because we did it type email, so there has to be an @ because there's no email without @. So basically this is our project. We haven't finished it. It doesn't look that much beautiful, but at least with the small HTML we have learned, you can create a registration form. Isn't that fun enough? with tables and tagging alone, you can create an HTML form. So when we are done with CSS, we will learn how to edit this thing, place it, make it look very beautiful and attractive, put our required tags and everything inside. So for now, let's try to master this. Let's try and do it. And if you are not understanding anything, please try and watch previous videos. I bet it will help. If you watch previous videos, I bet it will help you to understand what we did here. So this is simplest registration form you can create with only HTML. So you can tell your friends, oh, it's so and so class, code with the fan class, I've learned how to create registration form. And by the end of the class, you even learn how to do more. You can create this with your phone, your laptop, or any other machine you use. So feel free to go through it. And today's assignment, this week, the assignment will be create a registration form just as we did here, and let it have a confirmation password. You have to confirm your password. As you can see here, it's only password that we have. We don't have confirm password or repeat password. But if you are creating a registration form, mostly you do repeat password. So I want you to add another space for confirm password. That's what I want you to do. And those who are able to do it, we'll move them to a different place, as we said earlier on. Because of some reasons we couldn't do it, but we'll take those to the advanced level, how to take input from their HTML form, how to decorate their HTML form. So please try and pay attention and do it. Okay, I think that's all for today. So thank you all for your attention. Have a nice day. Thanks.